I'm going to start this video with a little moan, a little bit of self-justification, if you like. But I am also aware that what I'm about to say now, is not going to apply to sort of 99% of you. And I'm quite sure about those stats because YouTube on each day delivers me the stats on these videos. However, so if you are one of those 99%, go and make a cup of tea. I say cup of tea. I shouldn't hopefully be that long. However, it's not escaped my notice over the last few days received a lot of criticism because of the nature of the videos. Now, this is not something that I'm unaware of. I understand that if you look at the videos over the last few days, they say Sullivan, they say Moyes, they say owners. It's quite clear what the theme of it is about. And there's been quite a lot of criticism about that, saying, why are you still doing this? You're repeating yourself, do something different. Every video you've done has been about David Moyes, that sort of thing. Look, I understand it. And believe you me, I would like nothing better at this time to be riding so high in the league, up in 6th or 7th, that actually what we were doing was looking forward to Europe doing videos like that. And we've done plenty of those in the past, just like we've done plenty of David Moyes videos. And by the way, we've not stopped doing the previews and the reviews and the player ratings and the interviews and all the stuff. We still do that. I would love to be doing more of the other stuff. I'd love it that we were in such a safe position in the league that we could actually look forward to who we might be signing next summer, that sort of thing. I tell you what, nothing goes down quite as well on YouTube like a transfer video. I mean, it's honestly, it's back of the net stuff. It really is. I'd prefer to be doing that. I'd rather not be doing this stuff about David Moyes and David Sullivan and all of that stuff right now, but I have to. And there you go. And I'll tell you why I have to. What else am I meant to do? Sometimes when all this stuff isn't happening, when West Ham aren't flirting with relegation, when there doesn't seem to be this disaffection between a lot of the players at the club and the owners and the manager, and when all these news stories aren't leaking out, when that's not happening, what I'll sometimes do is I'll sort of look through the news of the day, the West Ham news. And I went to do that today, and I saw a couple of stories. One of them was about us signing Scott McTominay, and the other one was about us signing Anthony Martial. Now, realistically, I can do one or two things. I can talk about really the hot topic of the day, which is, on this one, it is about Rafa Benitez, it is about Graham Potter, it is about David Sullivan, about us not being able to attract a manager. That's the hot topic. Or, just because I think I ought to, I could talk about us signing Anthony Martial and Scott McTominay. The truth of the matter is I don't believe it. I don't believe that we're in for Anthony Martial. And I know, yeah, that's probably never stopped me in the past. But here's the problem with it. We don't even know what division we're going to be in next season. We don't even know who our manager's going to be next season. So how the hell can I, with any sort of authenticity, start to describe a story about us going for players who might, you know, from Manchester United or whoever else? The truth of the matter is we don't know. We could be buying players from League One. There could be a massive fire sale, or we stay in the Premier League and we're looking at totally different players. The truth of the matter is, to do that would be to just ignore what's happening. And that's what I'm going to do. That's my self-justification. And just, you know, please be aware, if you don't like it, look, no one's forcing you to watch this stuff. When you get a notification on your phone, you don't have to click it. If you think, oh, crikey, it's that Gonzo again, he's only going to be moaning about David Sullivan, David Moyes, don't click on it, okay? Yeah, but I hear your complaints, and as soon as there's something else to talk about, I'll tell you now, I will be talking about it. Right, so, hopefully you finished that cup of tea now, all the rest of you, we have a 99%. Okay, here we go. I'm a little bit, I think a little bit curious about this infatuation with Rafa Benitez, but I'm not just going to say Rafa Benitez. I'm going to say also Graham Potter, and I'm also going to say Bielsa, the former Leeds coach. I would say the same for all these examples. We understand that they are, as it stands at the moment, David Sullivan's top targets. He just can't get any of them for different reasons, right? I'll tell you what the reasons are very quickly. Rafa Benitez wants a 3.5-year deal. Bielsa wants to sort of overhaul the academy and also wants something like a 3.5-year deal. And Graham Potter's still Chelsea manager, so you can't go and get him. So they're all different reasons. But at the moment, those are David Sullivan's top choices. I would ask David Sullivan for each individual one, why? Why do you want him? And I mean that. I would like to hear the answer. So I would ask Rafa Benitez, why do you want Rafa? What is it you think that Rafa can bring to the table now that will fill the void of whatever's missing? So what do I think is missing at West Ham right now? What do I think would improve West Ham's chances of staying in the top flight, which is really all that interests me at the moment? I think the team look demotivated. I think so. Somebody that can probably lift morale, inject some excitement into them, and somebody that can play some slightly more attacking football, I think will help. We've got some good strikers there. We've had some decent forward players. At the same time as having these decent strikers, these decent forward players, we're missing quite a lot of our defenders through injury a lot of the time. So I'd just like to play sometimes not with 9 defenders, if you know what I mean. So I think a manager that can come in and do that. So that would be that's what I think is wrong. It's tactical and it's team spirit. That's really it. So any manager that comes in, I think either one of those will lift us out of it. So I think even with our sort of crappy old tactics we've got now, if the team were absolutely buzzing and really playing for David Moyes, I think we'd be out of it. But I also think if the tactics just changed a little bit more, I think we'd be out of it again. So I would say to David Sullivan, what do you think, Rafa Benitez? Why do you want him? Because I believe he wants him because it's historically. He's always wanted Rafa. He missed out on him. Remember, Rafa was close to signing, actually got off the job at Real Madrid. Rafa went and signed for Real Madrid. But why would you not? Of course, any manager would, right? So that would be my question. What do you think Rafa brings to the table? Because I don't think Rafa is not the type of manager that's going to cajole and get that dressing room bouncing. That's not really what he does. More than anything else, he creates a siege mentality. Not really what I think we probably need at the moment. Is he going to get West Ham playing attacking football? Not. I think not. I don't think he would do that. As I've mentioned before, I do think his teams often have. He likes quick players in his team. Not all of them, but he does like a number of quick players in his team. And I think maybe you look at the squad and think that's. I can't necessarily do that there. So that's what I would ask David Sullivan. Why do you want him? The second one I'd actually ask, why do you want him, is Bielsa. Why would you want Bielsa? I think I know. I think the reason is, David Sullivan seems to be only aware of managers that have crossed his path. What I mean by that, when David Sullivan has been sat up in the director's box and we've played against a team and a team that have caused us trouble, I think he looks at them and thinks, oh, those team are causing us bother. Their manager must be good. I think that's what he does. I don't think David Sullivan has an encyclopedic knowledge of the young coaches across Europe. Somebody who might be doing really well in the German second division or whatever the case may be, or just coming through in the French league. I don't think he knows about those guys. This is why, as I understand it, he's only really interested in recruiting a manager with Premier League experience. Now, there's been a lot, before you all say, and I know what you'll say, there's been an awful lot of managers that are in the Premier League now and who are doing well, and the first bit of Premier League experience they got was them doing their job right at this point. The type of manager, so let's say Thomas Frank gets poached from Brentford. Brentford have a list of managers, up-and-coming managers. They already know, they're already scouted, they're already monitored, they know who they are. In the same way that Brighton did. The moment Graham Potter got poached, Brighton knew who they wanted, so they got somebody else in. It appears to me it's only really West Ham who have this set of criteria, which limits our options. So at the moment, David Sullivan's saying, well, I can't find a manager. Well, no, you probably can't because you're fishing in such a small pool and you don't have the knowledge base. You've not employed people to let you know who the best up-and-coming managers are. So I think he looks at Bielsa and thinks, we played against Leeds and they were all over us. They were buzzing all over the place, big attacking football. We'll have them. Well, we'll go for Bielsa. I think that's why he's doing it. Is Bielsa, though, the guy that would come in and rouse and lift the team? Probably not. Would he play more attacking brand of football? He just might. It's a gamble. Granted, I think Bielsa is a gamble. I'm not selling the concept of Bielsa, by the way. I'm only dealing with these 3 candidates because they're the candidates that I believe David Sullivan is interested in. But Bielsa's going to be a difficult one because Bielsa is also a divisive character. It's a risk, it's a gamble. But here's the point. Sticking with David Moyes is a gamble now. It is a gamble. You're gambling that he's going to, A, find the tactics to turn it around, and B, get the team motivated again. That's a gamble. You've got to go back quite a way to find evidence to support that happening. And thirdly is Graham Potter. So I would ask him, why are you interested in Graham Potter? And in many respects, this is the strangest one of the lot. Because Graham Potter, I even heard Graham Potter described today as a quiet man. Was one of the pundits who I don't place a lot of stock by what they say. But I said Graham Potter's a quiet man. But I think he probably is. He's cerebral. He studied psychology, didn't he? What Graham Potter is a slow burner. Graham Potter's not going to come in, rant and rave, and instantly lift the spirits of everybody. I don't think that's going to happen. Would he be a bit more switched on tactically? Yes, I think he would. That being said, why he would want to come to West Ham, I don't know. And I mean that, even if Chelsea get rid of him. I think he'd be better off waiting, enjoying the rest of the year and a more stable, I wouldn't say a better club. There's no better club than West Ham United. Let's be fair, West Ham United fans. But we see it that way, and maybe everybody else doesn't. And certainly a more stable club than West Ham. Because I don't think that Graham Potter comes in and gives the team the injection that David Sullivan thinks he does. I'd actually argue that Graham Potter's possibly the best option were we to get relegated. And the reason for that is Graham Potter is a project manager. He's a slow burner. He built things very, very slow. Chris Hughton played quite a pragmatic style of football at Brighton, didn't he? By the time Potter came in, he disassembled what Hughton had done, and he gradually introduced a better brand of football. And so he got his head together with Dan Ashworth. Is that his name? Dan Ashworth, the guy that was poached by Newcastle. Built a team around him, and slowly but surely, tactically, they began improving the players that they had on the training pitch. Did a really good job of it. They began identifying players who could fit to the system that Potter wanted to play. And Potter would switch between a number of different systems, so he wanted versatile players. My point being, he coached the players really well over a period of time. And when he put his head together with Ashworth, they started to recruit players that were adaptable and fit their system. The project was a long project. It was supposed to be a long project. It's exactly why Brighton. Do you remember? Brighton put him on, I think it was a 6 or a 7 year contract. I remember lots and lots of news about it at the time. Why would they do that? Well, they do that because that's what he was. He's a project manager. And when I look at, whether it be Benitez, or I look at Bielsa, and I look at Potter, I mean, I could pick holes in all of them, obviously. It's the lack of an inspired decision. It's the lack of knowledge. I look at it and I think it's lazy. I think they're lazy choices. And when you can't get any of those three, then we get told, we can't find anyone. Well, you can't find anyone because you don't know where to look. You don't know what to look for. You don't even know who the candidates are. No, your candidates are. I'm pretty sure the best man for the West Ham job is not one of those three. But I'm also pretty sure that whoever that best man for the West Ham job is, David Sullivan doesn't know him. He's not crossed his path. Not played against him. Might be. I'm not saying this so everyone says Will still. That's an easy one to say. It's a very, very easy guy to shoehorn in there and say. And I'm not saying that because of him. But there would all be a guy somewhere who's ripping it up in Argentina or wherever the case may be, in Germany or maybe in the Championship. And I would hear that. Of course, Southampton appointed the former Luton manager. Didn't work out, did it? So, of course, we hear, well, that's a risk doing that. And everything is said it's a risk, as though David Moyes is a safe pair of hands. There's no risk with David Moyes. There's a massive risk with David Moyes. I mean, these are worrying times. They really are. I do hope that in the next few days we can start to focus on the game. It's nice to hear that Paqueta might be back. It's nice to hear that Scamacca might feature. Be good if Zuma was back. All of this stuff is really good. I would dearly, dearly love to think that West Ham can set up against Nottingham Forest and the players will come out and they'll be motivated and they'll look sharp and we'll have an attacking formation and we can really take it to them. I don't mean reckless, still some good defending, but not be in a situation where we have one shot on target throughout the game. I think that just go back to what I said at the start. I make no apologies for picking that stuff out. I was very, very happy. As anybody that's watched this channel for a long, long time will know, during COVID, when David Moyes, I backed Moyes to the hilt. I thought he'd do a good job. You'll remember this. I said, I think we'll come out of it. I think we'll do well. He seems to have his finger on the pulse. He handled it very, very well. I heaped a lot of praise on him. If I had an agenda against David Moyes, I wouldn't have been saying all that stuff then. That's not what's happening. I thought he was doing well then, and I said it as I called it. I think he's not doing well now, and I say it as I see it. It's really as simple as that. I'd like to be proven wrong. I don't care. I don't hold any currency. No, there's no value to me for being able to say no. I got that right. I don't care. I don't believe you me. I don't care. This is my job, right? I want David Moyes to keep West Ham up. Let's get that absolutely right. I absolutely do. What happens thereafter is another set of circumstances, and I will make no apologies for talking about that at the time when it comes. But I would like nothing more than to be doing a reaction video after the Nottingham Forest game, talking about a Paqueta overhead kick, talking about how sizzling the team were, talking about how well individual players have played, how classy Agurd was, how Emerson, I know he was crap in the last one, but how Emerson had continued his good form, and how Rice looked back up to it, how Rice was leading the team. Well, I'd love to be saying that stuff. I really, really would. We're stuck with David Moyes, at least until the Nottingham Forest game. So it's a case of get behind him. It's a case of really wanting him to win. But we need something. I think that's the thing. We need something. We need some messaging from him. And I don't mean that messaging about lacking football intelligence. I don't think we need to be that needs to be said. Just, I think he probably needs to come out and indicate that he's going to give us something to get behind, give the crowd at the London Stadium something to cheer about. It's all very well saying back Moyes and cheering. You know, I mean, start slowly, like sometimes we have been, and there is not. It's very, very hard. It's a trade-off, right? The manager motivates the players go out, they start the game brightly, the crowd get up. The crowd always sing first, the crowd do their bit. Always. Never, ever have I been in that stadium where at the start of the game, the crowd, to every man, woman and child stand up and they sing, "I'm forever blowing bubbles." The crowd, if that's the contract, the crowd always do their bit at the start. I think it's weak, it's lazy. Just get behind the team. Just get behind the team. You wouldn't know. Unless you've attended a game with somebody, you wouldn't know. But by and large, everybody that I see stands up and sings, and they support the team. And at kick-off, everyone screams, "Come on, you Irons." At that point, it's over to the team. You do your stuff now. Give us a couple of attacks. A corner, a couple of corners. When you do that, we'll go, "Yeah, come on." That's what happens. That's what happens. So we do our bit. The team needs to do theirs. And it's not all David Moyes. Some of the players have been awful. And if some of the players are not happy with David Moyes, okay, well, deal with it afterwards. A couple of them had a right old complaint in the last few days. But go out and play. Even if you don't like David Moyes, play for us, play for the fans, play for the club that's paying your wages. If everybody does their bit, we'll probably be all right. But let's not pretend for a moment that if just the fans carry on cheering, David Moyes can continue being as inept as he is and everything will be okay. Because it won't. Because there's one person that really needs to improve in all of this. Well, it's two. The first one will be David Sullivan. But that's if he's going to replace David Moyes. If he's not going to replace David Moyes is the one man. He's the man in charge. If what he wants to do is inject some vibrancy, some urgency and a will to win and some excitement into the club, he's the one that's got to do it.